So tonight, here to talk about The Visit.
Yep.
Your new film.
Yeah.
It delves into a number of kind of primeval fears that people have. I think you mentioned the fear of growing old and also abandonment as well. Where did the idea come from for you?
You know, I got the idea after I had an injury, believe it or not, playing basketball, and then I came out of anesthesia, and I thought of a couple movie ideas that I think retrospectively were about isolation, because I guess I couldn't move, and so I was kind of channeling that into the stories. And one was a movie called Devil, which I produced, and then this was the other movie, The Visit, these kind of isolated thrillers. And this idea of these kids visiting their grandparents on this farm, and weird and eerie things start to happen, and they're very concerned about what's happening with their grandparents.
It's a horror film, which I think is a genre that hasn't thrived in recent years. I don't know if you think that's true. I mean, are there any good horror films that you've seen recently?
Yeah, I loved Babadook. Did you see Babadook?
I did see Babadook,
and I loved It Follows. Those are two of, I thought the artistry in both of those were really, really wonderful. And actually, I don't know if I agree with your assessment that horror movies, in fact, there seems to be a lot of horror movies now. And probably in the last 3 years, 4 years, more horror movies have been released, I think, than maybe, you know, ever.
Would you say they were all good, though? Or?
Oh, no, you didn't say that. You said that
Okay,
you said the
enough.
horror field was not thriving, and I was like, huh, it feels like we're deluded. It would be like saying, you know, the comic book field seems to be dying. It's like all they're making is comic book movies and horror movies. But the horror genre is a difficult genre the moniker of horror films gets kind of hurt because it's usually an entry-level genre for filmmakers. Like, you know, inexperienced filmmakers come in and try to make a genre movie as their first movies. So it kind of has the stigma of poor acting or poor writing or poor execution and exploitation quality. For me, when the genre is done beautifully, it's the most exciting thing for me. Like, if you come to my house, I have the poster of The Exorcist on my wall, and Jaws, and Psycho, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, you know, The Birds, you know, when they were done, you know, The Haunting, Robert Wise, The Haunting, and, you know, when they're done by amazing storytellers, the idea of being told a scary story by real craftsmen is really, really powerful. And I, you know, aspire to treat the genre with A-level drama craft, you know? So with the rehearsals and the performance and the eye to the camera, as much as I can bring a love and craft to the genre so that it really separates itself out from our stigma of horror movies.
Okay, and it's a young cast and an old cast as well in this one. How did you find working with the two of them?
I love a little bit. I'm cheating because the movie needed to have kind of unknowns in it, and when you work with young people, you can discover talents that people haven't seen. And the two kids in the movie are really incredibly talented kids. I found them in Australia, actually, and the older actors there's not many roles in Hollywood for them, so I get to cherry pick all the greatest actors to play these roles. And so, like for example, Deanna, who plays Nana in the film, she just won the Tony for Best Actress on Broadway when I asked her to do this. And just an incredibly experienced actress, so just really lucky to work with these amazing talents.
Okay, now I'm sure you're sick of answering these questions, but I'm going to ask you one about Unbreakable.
Sure, yeah.
What are your plans? Are there any plans for a sequel for that one?
You know, I'm thinking about it. It's hard for me to do sequels in my head because I just don't like the idea of doing something expected, and that's just not how I write. I just don't like to feel that way, and I certainly don't like to feel there's a format to it that, oh, okay, now these characters will all be in tights and they start fighting each other. That's not what it was. It was a kind of a drama, and I wanna, you know, but I have been thinking about it a lot.
Okay, and finally, so what are you working on next?
I just wrote another thriller, a small contained thriller like The Visit, and I'm very excited. I'm gonna go away and shoot it this fall.
Excellent. Well, we'll look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!